Hi, how's it going? Thursday, July 16th, 2020. This is McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. Sorry we are late here. I was banging the lines trying to get some things confirmed from a text message I received earlier about the situation happening with the Washington football team named TBD at a later, you get it. Because I guess something's about to fucking pop off over there with the Washington Post. Who knows when that article will come? Hopefully it'll be within the next hour or so because we'll be able to talk about it alongside a Super Bowl champion who is in a much different backdrop than he was yesterday, AJ Hawk.
Yeah! What's up, guys? How you doing? So there's so many different rumors floating out there, huh? Like there's a lot of different things happening, and we don't really know. We're right on the cusp of figuring it out, but nothing has been confirmed, right?
There's rumors with everything. I mean, I might say today has been my best performance to date. And I'm saying that strictly because the way my brain operates, it is not supposed to be told things that nobody else knows and then shoved on air live. Like that is not supposed to happen. And I know a lot about a lot of situations right now that I guess they haven't been confirmed. But boy, there's some shit brewing off the court in the NBA with that Rachel Nichols hack that happened into her computer, into her hotel room that Deadspin wrote about earlier this morning. And then also with the Washington football team, which is supposed to be an expose in the Washington Post here whenever that ends up getting dropped. There's a lot of things happening with a lot of allegations. None of them can be confirmed, but I was scouring the internet to see what all other people have been told as well because I didn't want to be the person that breaks the news. A lot of the things that I was told in the message that I got is being echoed on the internet right now by accounts, a lot of accounts. And none of them can be confirmed, so I don't want to sit on. But obviously, the New York Times article that happened a couple years ago that talked about the Costa Rica cheerleader trip where the Redskins cheerleaders, at the time they were titled the Redskins cheerleaders, they were forced to get nude in front of sponsors, and then they were said to go out to the club. And, you know, it was all like one story, and then the choreographer, the head choreographer, is that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
The head choreography for the cheerleaders came out and was like, that is not the case at all. So who knows if it's going to be more of that conversation about potential terrible situations and sketchy business practices. But the on-field one is the one that in the text message, the text message that I got is the one that I think is going to be an earth shatterer. And now that other people are tweeting about it, if there is anything happening with the refs and Dan Snyder, that is going to be a big, big story. And it has not been confirmed. It has not been confirmed. I would assume if it was confirmed, that would already be big news. But the allegations of what this Washington Post article are going to be about are coming out. And boy, it is going to be fucking big, I think, if all these are true, yeah. AJ.
Well, what are you trying to say when you say if Dan Snyder and the Washington football team to be named later? I guess who knows when their new name will be revealed. Do you think the new naming is trying to take some of the smoke away from what is eventually going to come out?
It's amazing that this is all happening at the exact same time, it feels like. Now, it could be a terrible time to be a part of the Washington football team name TBD. That is definitely a true statement. This is a terrible time to be a part of that organization, but it feels like a lot of the decisions that were being made behind closed doors in that organization for, I don't know, the last decade or two are potentially all about to come to light. And also on top of that, you have to rename your entire franchise when there's 12 days before training camp's supposed to start. So it is a wild time over there. But if there's anything between and refs, that is a problem for a lot
of things. What do you
mean?
But what are you saying? What could go on between Dan Snyder and the refs?
I'm not breaking this news. Other people have tweeted this, but this was one part of the thing that I read that I said, oh shit, if that is the case, that's a big deal. Alleged payments to referees people are talking about on the internet. Mm-hmm. If that is true and they still stink, first of all, doing it wrong probably, bad investment, bad money, but if they are doing that, oh, that's going to be a big deal. And that's an allegation that's rolling out on the internet right now. This is nowhere near confirmed or true. But if that is happening, that's a massive ordeal, not just for the Washington football team named TBD, but the entire NFL.
I mean, that's a huge, okay, yeah, like you said, we don't know anything.
We don't know if this is true. We don't know. These are all allegations.
Nothing is confirmed. But if something like that would come out to where there was a situation between a team and the refs and there was some collusion or whatever, if that happened, I mean, that's a gigantic black eye for the NFL, for whatever team was involved, whatever teams, owners, players, refs, everyone. I mean, we knew. Look what happened when Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref, like what happened with him. He went to prison.
Hey, and Tim Donaghy happened before sports gambling. Okay? So that was just like the only people that he did it for sports gambling, but the people who were gambling were illegal gamblers. So everybody's like, I don't feel bad for somebody that's breaking the law. But now that's like sports gambling is involved. And if you ask any coach, by the way, not any coach, but most coaches, if they feel as if a ref is working against them or for somebody else, they will all tell you, yep, it has happened. I've seen it happen, because coaches have to write up reports the day after games. And any rule that they think they got wrong, they would like to challenge it. And then they get an email back from the NFL that says, oh, we got this one wrong. We apologize. Now, granted, you probably lost the game because of that. And maybe you lost out on a lot of future earnings, and maybe you're not in the playoffs because of it. But they at least acknowledge that there's a lot of coaches that question a lot of the referees' decisions. And when this comes out, it's not just, I mean, if this is true, which we are not sure if it is, but this is going to be a massive fucking conversation. I mean, this is a massive conversation by a lot of people to be had.
Do coaches ever reach out to the referees after a game if they think they've been, kind of slighted?
Brian Flores almost fought a ref after the game last year. That was a wild moment. What was your relationship like with the refs?
Most of them I felt pretty good about, and I would talk to them before the game, during the game, and it felt okay with them. I was never super tight with any of the refs, but I feel like I was
Sterator. You were tight with Sterator.
I like Sterator. Now, was it Triplet? Triplet's not exactly my guy.
Oh, Walt Anderson, not my guy. Would be a real shame if forget it. But yeah, Triplet was tough. Triplet was tough as well. Anytime he gave an announcement. So you remember when they banned any racist remarks, like the N-word was no longer allowed to be said on the field by anybody. There was nothing else like that could have been a penalty. I was hoping the Triplet was going to have to be the one that fucking called it. Like, all right, we got a personal foul on this guy. Right, he said, listen, he said a word that you can't, 15 yards, all right, and let's move the ball down the field, okay? But Triplet's draw, that slang that he had, I think automatically made people go, oh, this guy. Like, I think it's
He's
just
always stumbling over his words,
always,
too.
and he left his mic on. It felt like more than other people, like through the whole thing, but that's not an easy job, okay? I'm never going to say that that's an easy job. There's a reason that nobody wants to be a ref. Nobody's pulling for him. But there's some egregious shit that happens that you just go, like, there's no way you. And then if this comes out, imagine the question marks when you go back in the history of game. I mean, if this is true, this is maybe the biggest news in, I don't want to say the league's history, because I'm sure there's a lot of shit that has happened that I just don't know about with my recency bias. But that's big news. That is, and maybe that's why everybody that's been hyping up this news that knows anything about it is like, hey, big news coming out of the wash. Big news. But what if this all ends up to be just complete horseshit, too? We have to take that into account. What if this ref thing is just complete bullshit lie by somebody who potentially just hates Dan Snyder, which I've heard is a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've heard is a lot of people. Like, what if that, we have to take that into account, too. But boy, there's been a lot of hype for this thing. There's been a lot of hype for this story.
So what, we're waiting for the Washington Post to put this out, right? Are they the ones that did it?
Yeah, and I think the reason why is because the Washington Post has to confirm everything with multiple people. So that is what I was told. Like the Washington Post, professional journalism, big time journalism, everything has to get confirmed and sources have to get blah, blah, blah. That's why they're waiting for this story to come out. It's like, so then we don't know if any of it's true, but I don't think I remember any hype like this for a newspaper article ever, maybe.
Since Jay Glazer, since he teased something, right?
Who was it? What was the guy's name?
Brian Allen, correct? The center for the...
Yeah. He had it. Is he okay?
Big groundbreaking news coming tomorrow, Pat.
Is he from you and me?
Oh, I don't know. I was just going back in time to when Jay Glazer.
I know. I was thinking we should do it. I was thinking we should do it too, because Let's Jay Glazer. What's that?
I say we do it. Yeah, but Jay Glazer, didn't he redeem himself? Didn't he swoop in and take the Derrick Henry news?
Yeah, he did. And I even tweeted, Jay Glazer's back, baby. And he retweeted it in an old school Twitter fashion. He actually put the RT and then typed out the entire thing, which nowadays you don't have to do that. But I respect that hard work by Jay Glazer. So Jay Glazer is back. You're right. And what have you done for me lately? We live in that society. And Jay Glazer's back in the good graces. But we thought there was a chance that could be tough for him to bounce back from.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to absolutely shatter your entire earth.
Oh my God.
You know?
Jay Glazer's
Jay
friend of the
Glazer?
show. Glazer's friend of the show.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. But this news is going to be absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you're not gonna believe it.
That one sounds like it hurts to do. Does that hurt to do?
No, not really.
Can you drop into Mad Mel right in the middle of a sentence, or is there anything you have to say to get into voice?
No, you can kind of just run right into that one. That one's pretty easy to just dive into. You know, you just kind of pump up the whistle dick intake quite a bit. And, you know, it's all about finding the cadence right in between the numbers.
He was talking like that for 2 days after the draft. He was talking in that cadence for like 2-3 days after the draft. Whenever we get off air, he got trapped in Mad Mel there for a little bit, and it's all because of that Jordan Love pick.
You just become your character. Like, so Larry the Cable Guy, you know, his real name is Dan Whitney. And I
What?
guess his origins.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
The origins of his whole thing. He used to call into Jeff Foxworthy's show as Larry the Cable Guy, and then he kind of caught on and became Larry the Cable Guy, even though his name is Dan. So he's kind of become his character. He can go in and out of it seamlessly wherever he is.
No!
Breaking news.
Fucking spoiler! Huh? Can we talk about this for a second?
Did you think his real last name was the Cable Guy?
Yeah.
No! I just thought I didn't know. I thought it was just his first name and his a profession before he got up there. You're telling me Larry the Cable Guy, first of all, isn't even a Larry, and that is just a character?
Should have been Dan.
Yeah, his name's Dan Whitney.
No!
It's not a secret. He's not trying to hide it either.
No, it's right at the top of his Wikipedia.
So he just fucking wears camouflage all day, every day as Dan whatchamacallit?
Oh, his middle name's Lawrence.
I mean, I think it's partly that's who he is too. I think like he is like a country guy. He lives in Nebraska, big Nebraska.
Middle name is Larry, and he's from Nebraska. Yeah.
He's from Nebraska? I thought he's from deep south.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean,
He's got a draw.
to be honest, I think I've seen maybe 15 seconds of his material.
No! The Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Yeah.
You had to watch that as a
He
kid.
sells out stadiums, man. That dude sells out like he
Well,
would sell out.
they're
some
there.
He
cars.
travels with Foxworthy.
Yeah, they're there for Foxworthy.
But I
No,
went and
I'm
saw...
saying Larry did it himself. He didn't always. He's not only like he would sell out himself. He would sell out football stadiums.
A football stadium, Larry the Cable Guy?
Yeah, not right now with COVID, but like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, absolutely. That dude
Larry
sells
the Cable Guy
gigantic
selling out
places.
football stadiums?
Look him up and his merch. You know how much
years ago.
merch this dude is selling? It's unbelievable how much money he has made.
Okay, a football stadium. Larry the Cable Guy
Yes,
selling out a
more than one time.
Bullshit.
He's saying 50.
Look it up.
I call bullshit. Show me your cards.
Well, I just learned his name's fucking Dan. I guess I don't know much about this guy. Is he selling football Listen, I saw him and Foxworthy when they came to Indianapolis. Just, Foxworthy has 40 million albums sold or something like that as a comedian. I mean, you go and see Foxworthy if you have a chance. And Larry the Cable Guy's there. I'm like, I enjoyed Larry the Cable Guy when I was watching Blue Collar Comedy Tour. And they put on a good show. I enjoyed it. I laughed a lot. It was upbeat. It was fun. I got a chance to take a picture with Dan. He didn't tell me he was Larry. I got to take a picture, the whole thing. I enjoyed the night. But now that you're telling me his name's Dan, and you're saying he sells out football stadiums as a comedian, there's not a lot of people. Kevin Hart did Philadelphia Eagles. Larry the Cable Guy is selling out football stadiums. This son of a bitch is legit. It's not even him. This is a character. Good for Larry. Hey, good for Dan.
Yeah, great work,
Good
Dan.
for Dan.
Pat, I hate to break it to you, but I'm trying to think of any. Okay, the rapper Future. I'm pretty sure that's not on his birth certificate. That's probably
What?
not his given name.
That's not true.
Yeah, but I knew that. But he didn't say his name was like Larry Future. You know what I mean? Like he made a name that we knew was not on his birth. This guy just goes Larry like why can't we be Dan the Cable Guy?
He was a
Because
kid.
it was a character he used to call into Foxworthy's radio show with however many years ago, and he would just call in as Larry the Cable Guy.
That's a
And then he
fucking football
became-
stadium.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there.
Oh my!
Larry the Cable Guy. Dan's doing that right. Oh my God! I need to.
Can you imagine how many like camo shirts he's selling with "Get Her Done" on
Is
that?
that a Vinatieri
Hats
jersey
and
right here?
wristbands and koozies and coolers. I bet he sells so much merch.
That does look like a Vinatieri jersey, but it could also be any number 4 on a blue team.
Could
in
be
the
a
history
Cable
of
Guy.
sports.
Number 4.
Yeah,
I am a lot
Guy's
just happened to
number
me
1.
with my relationship with Larry the Cable Guy right there. Just learned he has a different name, not him. Then I'm learning he's selling out football stadiums. Like, well, it doesn't matter then. Nope. Okay. And do we move? I think I got to up my respect for the get her done guy. That is next level. Get her done. Get her done.
He's awesome. He plays in Tahoe, and I've been around him where he's sitting there and you're talking to him. You go, oh, hey, what's going on, man? And he talks, whatever. And then he's like, hey, well, yeah, how are you? What's going on, man? Oh, yeah, I got these new cigars. Like, he's into cigars and stuff. And then a fan will come up, and he's like, oh, yeah, what you do? Oh, okay, yeah, get her done. And he comes right back into Dan. It's awesome. He can go in and out so fast.
I don't know how I feel about this. I have no idea. I'm kind of torn here.
Is Guy Fieri Guy Fieri?
Great
Yes,
question.
yes.
Is Guy Fieri always Guy Fieri?
Yes.
He's
Obviously
got to
not.
be. I think he is. Yeah, for
No,
sure.
no way. He spit in our face at that
He
horse
did
thing.
not. He
He did not. That's a lie.
He did not. That is not true. Nick has a grudge against him for whatever reason, but
I love the random grudges that certain members of the crew over there have. Like, some guys love him. I know. I'm still trying to figure out the Drew Brees relationship there. I think Zito's tied with him. Ty is not.
I
Is
think
that
the
right?
entire office kind of had a change potentially, but Ty definitely was on the train early not to like Drew Brees because down at Super Bowl Radio, whatever that is,
Radio Row.
Radio Row, we were down there. We had Drew Brees on. By the way, brought us shakes from
I brought you a shake.
Smoothie King.
Smoothie King. He brought you one too, didn't he?
No, most certainly not.
Oh, so he brought me. Oh, I enjoyed it. I that was my first time ever really meeting him, chatting with him. He brought us a smoothie, and then Cuban Zeke was turning a lot of heads down there. Young Jeezy was looking over at Cuban Zeke. There was a lot of people that were pumped up about that. So Drew wanted to meet Cuban Zeke before he got out of there, and to do so, he had to lean over and. He put his elbow right on the back of Ty's head, I guess, while doing that. Is that accurate?
Pretty
Did he
much,
know
yeah.
that? Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Could he
No, he
feel
knew.
the fact
No,
that
he
he
did not.
No, yeah, he
probably-
knew.
he probably
I
thought-
laughed at his dumbass canny jokes the
Oh, my
entire
God.
interview,
Come
making him feel comfortable. Oh, yeah, Drew, you're funny, you're hilarious.
All right.
And that's how he, I just wanted to shake the guy's hand. Hey, great football player.
He could have confused you for me because for years and years and years, I've been trying to expose that the NFL has been rigging games for him.
Yeah,
so.
you have been very loud about that as well. So, I mean, it was an interesting because I've called his child stupid before too. So,
So maybe,
coming into the interview,
And then it turns out maybe games were being
what's that?
rigged
What's that?
for Drew.
Oh,
No, you can't do that.
Don't you even say that. Those are allegations coming out of the Washington football team. Don't tie Drew. Drew's already been tied into enough this offseason. He doesn't need that. But Drew coming into that conversation, he had potentially heard a lot about our show. I mean, from our show. I have a story about how the last thing I remember from before I walked into the most miserable locker room of all time was Drew Brees and his dumb baby up on the jumbotron celebrating that Super Bowl, right? And I mean, I called his baby dumb. It was for the story, and I assume Drew got that. But then you got Diggs literally screaming as loud as he possibly can for a long time there, like, "Oh, he's going to score the touchdown tonight because the season or the NFL is rigged for Drew Brees. It always feels like every time he has to break a record, the person's wide open." So Diggs has that entire thing, and then lo and behold, the other guys obviously have their thing. Drew came in, great interview with us, good conversation. On his way out, he just so happened to accidentally not see Ty, and he just, yep, there it is. That's the image. I mean, congrats
You're
to
about
them.
to say stupid. Baby.
But he elbows him right in the back of the head, and Ty did not let up that grudge. AJ did not let it up.
Nor should I. I should give him the hospital bill, too. He gave me a fucking concussion, so. We did.
You should have been wearing a mouthpiece, Ty.
How's the vacation going? How's Wisconsin?
It's cool, man. Nicest people in the world in Wisconsin. So it's been good trying to figure everything out. I'll be here until, I don't know, 4 or 5 more days.
Why is that? Is that how long you guys wanted to vacation, or is that how long you have to be there?
Yeah, we just planned on being here that long.
Really?
Anyway.
Is that right?
Oh.
What if you wanted to go
Vacation
home
in
early?
Bristol.
What if you just kind of got sick of it and you wanted to go home early?
You just
man?
head home.
Just head
I
home.
guess technically we could, but it would really throw a wrench in all of our plans and what we've been doing.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, because that golf tournament's currently in Columbus right now, and it's
We
for
should
the
go
second
watch.
week in a row. And I think
Yeah,
I would have
if-
wanted to stick
The
around.
memorial is happening like 5 minutes from my house in Dublin, Ohio, right now. And if I wanted to, normally I would go back and I would attend some of the rounds, but there's no spectators allowed, so therefore we are staying here
Yeah, but you're AJ
to the end of
Hawk.
the week.
You're AJ Hawk.
AJ freaking Hawk.
Yeah, you're AJ Hawk.
COVID doesn't care what your name is. You're not.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're
shit.
right. It do be like that sometimes. It
shit.
feels like.
Do be like
It do
that.
be like that.
Have you ever played that course?
Yeah, I usually played about once a year with a buddy who I don't belong there, but I have buddies that do. So usually once a year I tag along and make them pay the bill.
It's smart. It's beating the hell out of golfers today. I mean, it is beating the hell out of golfers right now. Dustin Johnson's like +6. I believe Justin Thomas is plus something. Schauffele, I believe, is
Plus
his name.
7.
He's +7. I mean,
Shoffley.
Who's Schauffele?
you know,
Xander.
Shoffley, you get it. That
Xander
guy.
Schauffele?
Oh, I'm sorry. American Century Championship golf expert.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Just trying to put some respect on guys' names and not butcher them.
Well, he would rather the wrong name be announced anyways because I think he's at +40 right now. Right? So it's beating the hell out of golfers.
-4 as we speak.
What's that?
Brandon's
The leader is at -4. At least Justin Spieth shot him. He shot -2 in the first.
Oh, Justin, huh? Justin Spieth, he's getting hot. Is that right? Have a little fucking respect for the Under Armour kid, okay? Jeez Louise, dude. So
What
Jordan's
about
having a pretty
Tiger?
good
I see
round.
you pumping Tiger up. He's teeing off like right now.
Yeah, 117.
Yeah, 10 minutes,
10 minutes
in.
in.
He's probably 2 under already.
He's got a 15-foot birdie putt on the first hole.
Here we go.
Tiger Tracker, great account.
Tiger Woods on the first hole, his first week in Columbus. 15.
His first time ever playing with no fans.
His first time playing in front of nobody aside from every practice round he's ever had in his life at his own course. From 15 feet, Eldrick Tiger Woods.
We're waiting on the tweets.
Fuck. Anyways, Tiger's going to make the cut. And right now, I think you can still bet at FanDuel at +100 odds, which means even money. It's normally -450, which means you bet 100 and win like 20. It's now +100, even money, $50 max. Bet 50 to win 50. Tiger to make the cut. And after hole 1, he is...
We got a tweet with just a bunch of firework emojis from Tiger Tracker, so I assume he hit the birdie.
So he's 1 under through 1. This course that is 5 minutes from AJ's house is beating the hell out of everybody. And right now on FanDuel Sportsbook in the 5 states that you can gamble legally, you can bet the super boost. Tiger Woods make the cut at +100. He is 1 under through 1. Eldrick's back. He's got tiny little legs, AJ. Did you see that in the match too? Tiny little legs.
Yeah, did you expect him to have giant quads like yourself?
He's very explosive. I mean, back whenever he was rolling, I assumed that there'd be, and then when he, oh geez, but then whenever he, I've heard there is that, but the when he had the shorts on for the match too, the calves were just on display, and I was like, you know what, that guy's got little foxy calves. Like, and he could probably dunk a basketball. Foxy can soar around with his tiny little legs, but Tiger 3 away from catching Jack. This is a tournament he likes. That's why he's playing it. And from what I've heard, he's very comfortable over there in Columbus right now, isn't he? Very, very comfortable over there. He likes the place, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, he always, I think he's won the Memorial 5 times already. Maybe more than that.
What is it about it? He's just comfortable, good town over there, or he likes the
You know,
course?
Good beds.
It's Jack Nicklaus's place. It's Jack's course. Jack built the place and continues to mess with it. I think after the tournament, they're shutting the course down until next year's Memorial to change it around and put new things. I'll probably just try to make it tougher for these guys.
We need to get in there. AJ, you need to use your weight a little bit. Throw it around. You're an Ohio
Get in
State
where?
legend.
You know.
Get in there.
You know where, Pat, we need to go? And someone I was talking to somebody out in Tahoe about it. They're like, "Oh, are you and Pat going to go to Yas Island and report on one of the UFCs that they have there on Fight Island?" I was like, you know what? We actually talked about it. We're trying to get some credentials to show up and catch a free couple tickets on the private jet and make it over there.
I think it's only like, what, a 30-hour flight or something like that? We'll stop in Rome for sure, like we're Masvidal. But Yas Island last night, there was 2 dudes, Laziz and, should know the name. For 3 rounds, they stood up and threw bombs at each other on ESPN last night. It was immediately after the NASCAR race, which had a thrilling $1 million end with 30,000 people in attendance, and they were not socially distancing, but they were loud, and it felt like we were back in the live sports world again. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen health-wise, but it was insane when I turned it on. I saw the fans in the stands, and then right after Chase Elliott wins the $1 million All-Star race, a big NASCAR show, obviously, I go to ESPN, and I'm seeing these 2 dudes that are massive, just throwing bombs at each other. And then I passed out because I was tired. But midweek fights, here we go. Dana White's getting his done over there at Yas Island. And I wish we would go over there. That'd be a cool little trip.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what Dana's done so far. Selling 1.3 million pay-per-view buys in the Masvidal-Usman fight. Yeah, he's making it happen. Hopefully he's setting the groundwork and showing other organizations, hey, this is, hey, they tell me no over and over and over again. I just keep saying yes. I'm going to find a way to make it happen. And Dana has done that, whether you like it or not. You got to give him some credit.
Hey, that's business, baby. Dana White is a savage businessman, was going to get the job done. And this is a great case study for all the olds that are currently operating events and announcements. With the way the internet is, you only need a couple days to announce something. The days of a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week buildup aren't needed anymore. That Masvidal fight came in on what? Monday it was confirmed, or Tuesday it was confirmed, and by Saturday it already had 1.3 million buys, and those fights weren't happening until 3 a.m., 2:30 a.m. I mean, that's the wave that we're in. If you catch something hot, you're good to go. That Masvidal substitution for Gilbert Burns was the best thing that could have happened for Yas Island, even though the fight, most people didn't get to see it because they fell asleep. And once they learned that Masvidal didn't win and they heard about the fight, they probably didn't even watch it back. But hey, that's business, baby. They got the money. They're off and running. And he's just putting fights on over there at a rapid rate. I respect Dana White's business savagery. I really do.
Oh, I absolutely do. And I respect how he attacks people from the podium when he does press conferences, how he goes back at people on Twitter. Like, I guess it's fun to see the guy who is the face of $4 billion franchise not scared to go back at some dude on Twitter who has 4 followers and tell him how stupid he is.
Oh, you wanted to fight Lebatard too. I mean,
where are we with that? Is that gained any traction?
I feel like it's kind of got set on the back burner with everything that's happening in the world, but we'll be sure to go ahead and stoke the flame a little bit. We'll bring out the little fan, the air blow thing to get that thing back alive whenever the time is right. But right now, probably not a good time to talk about it. But yeah, he acts like he's a fighter up there, which I respect. You know, like he's up there like, that's a stupid question. Fucking next. Let me get out of here. Well, Darren Ravel's an idiot. So anybody like that is just, it's so different. And I think that is why they've been successful though, by the way. It's like Vince McMahon with WWE. The character Vince McMahon on WWE, I mean, that was maybe the most hated character in the history of wrestling, which is a compliment. But that type of the face of the company building, so when it has success and when it has failures, you have a person that you can point blame at, which is what Vince McMahon has been with the WWE. Dana White is that too. So when that thing sells for $4 billion, Dana White's a genius. If they were to have a bad run or whatever, Dana White's an idiot. So it's like there's a lot of pressure that comes with doing what Dana White is doing too, because you can just toe the line, not really say anything, keep it moving, but then that doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. When you're Dana and you're out here talking about how your matchmakers are so talented, more talented than everybody else, and how this fight would make sense in this fight, and if those things don't hit, you can kind of get your reputation questioned a little bit. He hits. Dana White hits. It's not a normal thing. Normally people come out, run their mouth, and they're wrong. Dana has been very confident from the beginning in this thing. He's had a vision, and I think that you have to respect the hell out of if you're watching from the outside.
Well, especially the fact that Dana got paid like $400 million when the UFC sold to WME, whatever it was. And I'm sure in his contract they wanted him to stay on for I don't know how many years and still kind of run the thing. But even if he did agree to stay on, don't you think it'd be kind of difficult to continue to come into work and continue to try to make these things happen when you just got paid $400 million on top of what you already had? Like Dana still seems to be energized, seems to want to go out there and be as feisty as ever to go out there and continue to build the brand.
Motivated. He seems still to be motivated, which is awesome to see, because there's obviously in all walks of life people who make the money, which has been their lifelong dreams. It set them up for a life of comfort, and you kind of take the foot off the gas. You're like, you know what? I'm going to chill, maybe enjoy life a little bit more, smell the roses, which, by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there are a lot of people who they get successful, and they're like, all right, now it's time to back up why the success has come and kind of keep it moving. And in sports, it happens sometimes. Sometimes you see people get paid, and then everything changes. The off-season workouts aren't as long. Maybe there's a couple reps that don't happen. Maybe there's a couple balls that get dropped and don't get accounted for. Or maybe you're off sides. Maybe your weight's a little bit heavier. That happens for a lot of people. I think the reason why the NFL has been so successful and why some people have made so much money is because it's much more common for people to get paid and then work their ass off. For instance, like I think Derrick Henry, this 4-year deal worth $50 million, with $25.5 million of that coming in the first 2 years. This is a 2-year deal with $25.5 million. That is a 4-year deal worth $50 million. After year 2, something's going to happen with this thing, whether it's going to be a cap casualty cut, a renegotiation, a restructure, whatever it'll be. This is a 2-year deal for him. A lot of people say you can't pay running backs because they get lazy or they get hurt or something like that. I think Derrick Henry is just starting to hit his stride. Like, I think he is just starting to learn how he can be dominant. Last year, something clicked for him. And I think this is a great signing by the Tennessee Titans to make him happy, get him money, and say, hey, going into this year, just like last year, we're going to go ahead and put the ball in your hands. Then we're going to play action with Tannehill, and hopefully we do another deep run.
Well, I understand. I think this is a great deal for both sides. For the Titans, obviously, like you said, it looks like a 4-year, $50 million deal, but in reality, it's 2 years, and he gets $25 million guaranteed, and then the team has to make a decision whether they keep him, whether they restructure, and even if they decide to cut him after 2 years, well, hey, I just collected $25.5 million, and I'm going to be a free agent again at, 28 years old, probably, 28, 29 at the oldest. So it's a good deal for everybody. And Tannehill, I know I've seen something where it said this deal actually pays him less money than they paid Chris Johnson in 2011 when the cap was much smaller than it is now. But I understand what you're saying, but I think Derrick Henry is probably smart too at the same time, and he knows, like, hey, I know, like, they don't want to give 5-6 year deals worth of gigantic money to running backs because, well, look what's happened to the guys that they have done that to. It's tough. So now he's thinking, I get 2 years, let's knock out, let's get a quick 25, 26 mil, hopefully win a bunch of games, and if everything is going well, good, I'll stay here and I'll collect hopefully the rest of my contract. If not, I'm doing well, but they don't really want me, I can go play for another team and hopefully make a big chunk of money and get a third contract.
Imagine if he plays like he played last year, man. It was fucking awesome to watch, dude. Just a man.
They're going to have to. Don't you think the Titans have to play that way to be successful?
Have to feed him. But there was always, in years past, whenever he came into the NFL, there was always those moments. And I said this earlier. It'd be on prime time, and then somehow, some way, they'd be given the ball to Derrick Henry. He would get hot, and he would have like 70 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then you never hear from him again. It's like, why isn't that happening? And I don't know what it was. And I think King Henry came out and Eddie George said that they had a conversation at some point last season, and it kind of like changed the way, like, hey, you should probably do this. Like, I guess Eddie George gave him a great piece of information, and it kind of changed the way he was looking at it. And man, those last, 10, 11 games for them into the playoffs, he was just the guy, the bell cow. And if he can continue to play like that, good for the Titans for getting him in for 2 more years. That's big for Tannehill, too. Play action is a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, they want to control the ball and not put it all on Tannehill. And as long as you have Derrick Henry there, especially, though, like, just look at it's funny how teams kind of take on the identity of their head coach. I mean, look at Braves. Like, you talk about a Rust Belt, gritty dude who was a 15-year player on the Patriots, 3 Super Bowl rings, like a no-nonsense dude. I feel like the whole team kind of takes on that same personality. Taylor Lewan, obviously a crazy man out there playing tackle, very physical. Yeah, it's just fun to watch, I guess. So Derrick Henry, I'm sure Vrabel was going hard at their GM and their owner and everybody saying, hey, I don't know how you're going to get it done, but we need Derrick Henry on this football team. If you want us to even have a chance to get back to where we were last year in the AFC Championship game, I need this guy on the roster. I need him happy.
Michael Lombardi, former GM for the Browns and executive for the Patriots and coach consultant, all this stuff. He's at every job. Good guy, Italian guy. He said that if you look at the deal that they offered Derrick Henry, it's worth like $1.5 million more than if he was to get franchise tag this year and next year. So, like, the franchise tag for the next 2 years would have got him like $23 million. This deal gets him $25.5 million in 2 years. And it was basically, he said, a deal that Derrick Henry couldn't turn down because you're guaranteed the money, and there's a potential to get it back in for another $25 million too. And it was a deal for Derrick Henry that was like good money. So he said it was almost like a perfect setup. Like he said it was like a perfect setup by the team. And he wondered if Dak and the Cowboys were ever going to come to an agreement, especially because he feels that Dak's agent, Todd France, I believe is his name, was just waiting because Deshaun Watson has a deal coming in the next 10 days, I guess, which is going to be around $40 million a year. Is what Michael Lombardi thinks. Next,
what's it going to look like? Do you know what it's going to look like the overall numbers? Do you have any idea?
No idea. When Lombardi said it on the show, He just said it in like passing. He was like, they know Deshaun Watson's deal is going to be done in the next 10 days for about $40 million a year. And they know this. And I was like, that's happening? He's like, oh yeah, it's in the NFL. Everybody pretty much knows that once Patrick got done, they were going to try to lock down Deshaun. And for Dak, that's what his people are watching for those two to see what those deals are, because they want somewhere in the $40 million a year range as opposed to 33, 35. It was wild to hear it all, because these contracts, a lot of people think it's how good you are, which definitely matters. You have to be good. You have to be good. But the timing, how much does the team revolve around? There's so much that goes into whether or not a quarterback gets broken off or anybody gets broken off.
Timing is gigantic. You're right. You obviously have to be good to get a big deal like that, but timing absolutely helps. And, okay, what are their other options? Do they have a young backup that they want to, that think that he could be the next guy? Are they looking at the draft, or they think there's possible free agents to sign? Like if you're a quarterback, I mean, any position you're in, timing is definitely huge. When you come into free agency. But so let's say Deshaun signs and he gets about $40 million a year. Does Dak come back and say, hey, we want something not as high as Pat Mahomes, but a little bit more than Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no
Does
idea.
he deserve more than Deshaun Watson?
I have no idea. But if he gets,
I don't either.
If he gets franchise tagged the next 2 years, it's $69 million. So
It's not a bad payday, guaranteed.
2 years, $69 million. Any deal that is offering anything less than double that, you probably turn down, right? If you're not doubling at least $140 million guaranteed, probably going to get turned down there. Because why would you commit to 5 years if you can get half of the money guaranteed in 2 years automatically? That's just tough. Those business negotiations, man, when there's that much money on the line, it has to be very difficult to remember, oh, yeah, there's just fun coupons. Fuck it. $37 million a year? Nah, fuck, get out of here. They got to deserve 41. Oh, yeah. But that $4 million in between, I'd take that too. It's just like, it has to be, I don't know how you balance that. It's just like at the casino, I guess, when your chips are just like, it's not really worth money. These are just chips. But you have to be able to do it. Have to be able to do it, AJ. You have to be able to do it.
Yeah, you do. Man, the Pat Mahomes deal. I know everyone freaked out when he signed it for how much it looks, whatever, 10 years, 500 mil, whatever it is. But I don't think anyone sat there and said, oh, he doesn't deserve it. Like, hey, I wouldn't pay him that much. Did you hear anybody say that?
No, you heard everybody say that he deserves more.
Yeah. They said, oh, the Chiefs, they made out on this one. I'm like, really? Did they?
$500 million. $500 million. How much is guaranteed? We don't know, because they only released that injury guarantee. Bullshit.
I still don't know what that means.
Me neither. And I would like to know what the guarantee is, not just the injury guarantee. I'm about sick of it. Has the Washington Post said anything?
No, it still hasn't come out yet.
I'm checking my sources.
They have not.
What's
so
going
when does
on?
this? Okay, but the Washington Post, though, Pat. So let's say they're working on this story that we allegedly have heard. There's all kinds of crazy things that could come out, something to do with the referees. Who knows what else? How they must have been working on this for months. Like, this isn't just something that the Post picked up on 4 days ago. Like, this goes back months.
It has to be. The amount of research and confirmation and stories that you have to, that has to be months. There's no way it's just one Zoom call. No. No. All right, everybody's got problems. We're all going to meet in a Zoom call here, and let's just start fucking airing it out. You know what I mean? And we'll just write it down last week, and then we'll put this out next week. I assume there's a lot of digging, prying that has to happen. Probably sources that probably don't normally talk are probably being asked to talk. I mean, if it is everything that's being alleged, and we have no idea if it is or not. We have no clue if anything that has been said on the internet, on this show, anywhere is true or not. But boy, if it is, we're talking big news.
Yeah.
Big news. Nuke.
And Ron Rivera's sitting there, and he's going to have to deal with the storm, even though he wasn't there. It's all things that happened before he arrived.
That's why but all the things that we're hearing are potentially going to be talked about are incredible reasons for why the 40% owners of the Washington football team named TBD would want to get out, by the way. We do not want to be associated with this. We would like to get out of here, because whenever it came out that the minority owners who own 40% of the Washington football team would like to get out of ownership because they're fed up with Dan Snyder or something, I'm like, I understand you can be fed up with Dan Snyder, but when you bought in with Dan Snyder, you knew Dan Snyder. In the NFL, most people aren't trying to get out of owning an NFL team. Like, NFL teams are just they're a money printing machine, basically. That's what they do. They just print money. And that time is not going to stop, I don't think, for any time. So whenever I heard that somebody wanted to get out there, it was very confusing. Very, very confusing. But now that you're hearing the potential allegations, like, oh, that's why they don't want to be attached to that at all. And Ron Rivera probably had no idea of any of this, signs the deal. He's like, wait a minute, what am I now a part of all of a sudden? Okay, I got to change the name because this is obviously terrible. And also, we have to clean up the entire building because of everything you guys have been doing for the last decade. Ron Rivera probably like, any other team, I could have been a coach anywhere else, which he could have been. He could have been anywhere else. The fact that he's there, probably going to be, a godsend for those fans because he might be able to help out and navigate the waters. But boy, if that thing comes out with all the shit that we've been hearing and seeing on the internet, that is wild. Hey, I got a big announcement.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
Big announcement. Now, this isn't the Washington Post announcement, okay? This isn't going to be a tough to read or tough to hear announcement or a disappointing, sad announcement. This is what we like to call the polar opposite of that. This is an ecstatic announcement that needs to be heard from coast to coast, sea to shining sea. Mm-hmm. This is a huge week in Canada dipping history as Canada Dips has finally launched the flavor of all flavors, wintergreen. Big day. Yes. Big day. Big day.
Back it up.
Big week for Canada Dips and their CBD pouches are next level. They taste incredible. Now they have wintergreen. Replace your tobacco terrible shit that you put in your lips and put in a Canada Dip CBD infused pouch that now has a variety of flavors. They obviously have the tropical flavor. They have the lemon flavor. But ladies and gentlemen, this week, a wintergreen flavor has been added to the arsenal. Ty, I know you got to be jacked up about it.
It couldn't be happier. I mean, I quit a while back, but I was still, kind of hankering for a chaw. Guess what? It's back with the wintergreen here.
Well, Canada Dip's a great replacement for the old school tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody likes old school tobacco anymore. There's no reason to. It's dangerous. You look stupid. It's sawing down your teeth. Oh, it's staining you. Don't worry about that. You can have the same habit, same buzz,
Ding.
but with CBD instead of that nasty ass tobacco. In the spirit of being a better man, Canada Dips wants to challenge everyone to put down the bear, the grizzly long cut wintergreen, and pick up the Northern California wintergreen Wonderland. The Northern California wintergreen Wonderland. Wow. Let that touch your mouth. Go to CanadipCBD.com and use promo code LIPBOOMERS for 15% off everything on the site. And for a limited time only, Canadips will throw in a free tin of OG Kush with every wintergreen log, which is ordered with the promo code. Life's too short to pack tobacco. Grab a tin of Canadip CBD wintergreen and hang a honker in front of the kids and wife and feel like a true hero. Hang a honker. Is that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hang it, baby.
I've never said that, but that's pretty
Honk,
good.
honk.
No more trips to the garage to sneak a dip in sorrow. Liberate yourself and hang lip boomers with Canadip CBD. That's right. Go to CanadipCBD.com and use promo code LIPBOOMERS for 15% off.
Get her, dude.
It's good stuff.
Dan would say that.
Oh, yeah. Lawrence.
Wintergreen's a big come up there for the Canadip
Huge.
replace tobacco community because wintergreen is a very popular tobacco that people shove down their mouth.
Oh, yeah. It's a staple. One of the original flavors.
Now you got CBD infused patches that make you feel better and have great taste. AJ, can we talk about Zion leaving the bubble in Orlando to attend a family emergency? Now, obviously, T's and P's to whoever he is going to see or whatever has happened, but I feel like a lot of the decisions around the bubble were made to see if they can get Zion into the bubble and playing. And now, if he comes back, he has to be quarantined, I think, for 10 days unless they make an adjustment to that rule. Feels like Zion's probably out of the bubble, which is massive news for the NBA.
So, okay, how much time does he have? Let's say he gets back in the next 2 or 3 days. Does he have enough time to quarantine and still play with his team when they start?
I think he would have enough
19th.
time in that particular case, but he wouldn't have been practicing or playing for 10 days. And before we went into the quarantine, they had him on limited minutes due to injury. I think that could potentially raise some eyebrows down in the Pelicans organization. Obviously, want everything to be okay with Zion and his family and safety. But boy, when you talk about the bubble, no Zion is tough. But if he does get back quick, I think they'll be able to make it still, AJ. You're right.
I think they'll find a way. Don't you think the NBA will find a way to, if it's not too serious, whatever he's dealing with his family, which it has to be serious for him to leave the bubble.
Yeah,
but if they can get this figured out within the next 3, 4, or 5 days, the NBA knows, hey, we're trying to make some money, and we're losing some money because we can't have fans in this whole situation. We need Zion playing. No matter, I don't know how many games he's going to get to play, how many minutes, but we know the ratings are much, much better if Zion is in the lineup. So I think they're going to do whatever they possibly can to safely get Zion back in the bubble and let him join his team again.
Zion!
Like the New Orleans. Who cares about the Pelicans when Zion's not in the lineup?
By the way, I did not, but I'm a massive Pelicans fan.
JJ
Massive.
Redick. You're a big JJ Redick fan, isn't he, on the Pelicans?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and you should see Drew Holiday, dude. Come on, bro. Brandon Ingram, what up, yo?
Lonzo.
Oh, Lonzo Ball. The guy couldn't even shoot a basketball when he was in Los Angeles. He goes down to New Orleans. Stud. He's like the mailman. He's delivering stuff to Zion on a daily basis on the internet. I mean, the guy is maybe
He's
point
Karl Malone?
god. Huh?
He's turned into Karl Malone, like a big power forward, or what?
No, he's like more Stockton. Is that what Stockton's nickname there, the mailman?
No, Malone.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, Stockton, mailman.
Stockton could dish it with the best of them.
Well, it'd make a lot more sense if you're the mailman, if you're the one delivering the ball.
You're right.
He delivers the ball into the hoop, I think is the thing for Malone.
Delivers wedding rings to underage girls.
Oh, Jesus
Whoa.
Christ almighty. What's going on over there?
Who's that?
What the?
Karl Malone, look it up.
Oh my God!
what
This
happened?
guy.
What do you mean what happened? Look it up.
Oh my
I
God.
can't exactly right now. I'd like you to give me a short version of what may have
I would
You
not.
can't.
Is this confirmed?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He already said he gives wedding rings to underage girls. So what else can he say to hurt himself more?
Hold on. Before you say
You never
anything,
know.
I would
Talking
like
about
to
his
know
son.
whether or not this is 100% confirmed and true.
It is confirmed.
The first that popped up is Diamond Dallas Page.
What did Karl Malone was tag team
Karl
partners
Malone
with DDP.
and DDP
Bash at the beach.
were tag team partners.
What did you Google for that?
Diamond
Karl Malone wedding
ring.
rings.
Karl Malone.
Wasn't a wedding ring. He fathered a child with a 13-year-old girl.
What?
Holy.
Yeah.
Who?
Karl Malone.
Mailman.
Is that the same one who went to the NFL or no?
I believe
His son?
that was
I think
the
it
son.
is, actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
his
What?
son,
Yes.
that kid went to the NFL, so I mean it worked out.
Oh, he's got. I mean, he has a lot of kids to deal with. I don't know how many exactly, but I know he has a good amount.
And that's.
Just telling you, it's
That's
out
mailman talk,
13-year-old,
baby.
really?
Huh?
13 years old?
That's that. I don't know how we
Allegedly?
just skipped past that. We got to the NFL all of a sudden. I don't fucking.
Yes, that does check out. 13 years old. I'm not gonna say her name, but yeah, yeah, he was 20 years old
But-
at the time.
What?
Don't you get in trouble for that kind of thing?
You would think.
Not if you're the mailman.
He
Government
was
employee.
just on. He was making the rounds. He was doing media, I think, just within the last couple.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he did it yesterday. It was when he was 20, so it was a long time ago. Not saying it's makes it any better, but it's out there. It happened.
This show stinks, dude.
Times have changed.
This show stinks. I don't need that in my life. I was perfectly fine, just moving along without that. But here I am. Now I know I'm woke to Karl Malone having sex with a 13-year-old.
People wonder why the Jazz didn't win a championship.
Why not?
Why is that?
Fortune does not favor Karl Malone, my friend. Not even a little.
What's on your dry erase board?
Oh, is Washington football already dead? Beep, 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 beep. Facts coming in. 10,000%. Yes, they're dead already.
It's like a quick fax machine.
That's his new gimmick, the lift up the piece of paper.
It's
Yeah,
a printer. Printing facts back here. What do you want me to do?
Oh, because it is fax, too. It's
FAX.
a fax with fax.
FAX. Yeah, there you go.
I don't think he wasn't gonna
Almost
do that.
misspelled facts there.
Hey, Pat, so does this audio that supposedly was recorded with Rachel Nichols, is it going to be released?
What do you mean?
Didn't you say something? There was a rumor that some kind of thing Rachel Nichols was hacked or something. I know that's out there.
Deadspin wrote an article late night last night or early this morning. I read it this morning that allegedly, so I don't know if this has been confirmed or not. Allegedly, Rachel Nichols' computer or iPad or whatever she was shooting back to ESPN with in her room was hacked by somebody at ESPN to record her after hours when she was not on the cameras, right? This is what the article alluded to. I have no idea if this is true or not. This is what the article alluded to on Deadspin, which, by the way, did not read like a Deadspin article of like the last 5 years. It was
No,
actually...
it's more like a Deadspin the past like 10 years.
Yeah. It was first time I've read Deadspin probably in a very long time, actually, because it was such a wild story, and the way they framed it was like some creep at ESPN was spying on Rachel Nichols and recorded a conversation that she was having. And then I guess a 4-minute video of the video that was being recorded or stolen was then circling the rounds trying to sell. And I think Deadspin in the article, the way they made it feel as if they didn't want to talk about the video because it was illegally recorded, because Florida and Connecticut are both, or Massachusetts, Connecticut. What is the ESPN at?
Connecticut.
Are two-party consent states, so both sides have to confirm to being or agree to being recorded. So I think the person that recorded the video was trying to send a video out to disparage Rachel Nichols, is what Deadspin said in the article. And then Deadspin said, we are in an interesting place because although that would be information that would be reported, the video was done illegally, like very illegally done. So I think there's a chance that whoever recorded that was potentially trying to take Rachel Nichols down. But that person, for whatever happened in the conversation, they said that there was things potentially being said, but in the 4-minute video they watched, they did not see that. But whoever did that is probably going to get arrested, I would assume, for doing something incredibly creepy, especially with what happened with Erin Andrews when people were recording her in there. So I think there's a lot of question marks around this story, but it feels like there's a creepy hacker out there trying to hack into people's computers. And I guess Rachel had her camera covered, they said, because it was only audio, but the audio was being picked up. So that's a fucking weird world we're in right now.
I mean, especially if it's an ESPN employee that kind of hacked in there and figured it out. Like, how creepy is that? How wrong is that? Like, that's just wrong on every possible level.
It's
no matter,
terrible.
like, what's your intentions with that? What were you planning on doing with it?
It's creepy, right? I would assume that he was...
Trying to get nudes.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
assume this was an attempt at potentially getting like the Erin Andrews situation. I would assume there's no way they just... I mean, unless they were just trying to record everything she was saying. I don't know. I have no idea what the intent was of the whole thing. Creepy nonetheless. But I guess there is a conversation that was recorded that was described as being very interesting or whatever.
That she probably wouldn't want out there publicly. That she was having a private conversation that it was not intended for mass consumption.
I would assume, yeah, that a private conversation, the way Deadspin was like kind of dancing around how it was described to them whenever it was potentially being sold. I don't know if the person was
Did
trying
somebody sell it or offer it to sell to a Deadspin? Is that what happened?
I'm thinking that's what happened. I don't know if they were shopping it or they just sent it out there in an attempt to do it. And Deadspin, I mean, against all odds almost as an internet company, it seemed like they almost took the moral high ground in the situation. I don't know. I don't think we know enough about it, but I would assume that just like with this Washington Post article that's supposed to come out at some point about the Washington football team named TBD, I would assume more is going to come out about this as we roll on, especially in the world that we're in right now. Everything gets out nowadays. Everything gets out.
And if you're Rachel Nichols, I would hope she is getting her lawyers lined up to sue whoever did this to her. Everybody.
Well, then also ESPN would have to find out who this is, and then I would assume that since that's hacking, that's probably a federal. There's probably something. I mean, there's going to be a lot of shit with this. Just with the Washington, there's going to be a lot. We're in the sports world, talk about sports, and it'd be great if we could just talk about sports. But the state of sports right now is reality television at this point.
Yeah.
There's shit going on everywhere that you would have never, ever expected or guessed.
In sports, Tiger is 2 under through 3.
Let's go. Here you go, Tiger.
FanDuel right now, plus 100 bet if you want to get in that he's going to make the cut. Spoiler, he's making the cut. Yeah. Spoiler. Hey, too bad, FanDuel, just losing whoever goes and bets $50, which is the max right now, to win $50. But this happened, by the way, a couple different times. We have tried our best to take down FanDuel. We did a Spread the Love campaign where one team was plus 100 and something in a game. We did another Spread the Love campaign where the Colts were plus 59, almost lost.
Needed it, too.
But there's been a couple of these occasions where it makes no sense how FanDuel makes any money, to be honest with you. And I'm all about it. Super boost the shit out of it and let's make some money.
Yeah, plus 100 to make the cut. I mean, that's great odds. Like, why do they do that?
I
They're
think
good
Best
people.
sports
You know
book in
why?
the world.
Around.
That's why.
it's the best. It's the friendliest, fairest, funnest book there is. But also, we super boosted 2 things this past week and everybody lost. So I would assume that they feel bad about the start of the super boost run this year. Because last year I did a lot of boosting during the fall. Oh yeah. We were hitting. Boom, 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 boom. Hit. Super Bowl, we had like a double super boost that even went even bigger. So, I mean, we hit them hard last fall, and then we started out cold. I'm wondering if they're worrying if we're cold and we lost it. So that's why they gave us this one. It don't matter. I don't give a fuck. They're giving away free money. We'll take it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Who's showing the memorial? Is it on CBS? That's what it usually is, I think.
We were watching Golf Channel, I think, earlier. They had a couple of different holes on, but normally the people that cover golf is nobody because it's fucking impossible to find.
Yeah, but think about it. Think about the ratings. If Tiger is in the final group on Sunday and there's no other sports going on, remember when he won the Masters, how it legit took over the world? Like, everyone's like, oh, this is the greatest. It was Father's Day. It was like it was meant to be. If Tiger can come back after, I don't know when the last tournament he played in, wasn't it before COVID? And he comes back with no fans. Like he said, this is the first time I've ever really played with no fans because even in college, there was always a few stragglers following me around the course. What if he goes and he wins in his first tournament back? Everyone's going to think he's going to go win the Masters in, November this year?
Yeah.
Bro, it is going to go bonk. I mean, the internet will stop for Tiger. The ratings will be through the roof, and everybody loves that for everybody. Fans like it because we get a chance to see Tiger. Tiger likes it because people get to see Tiger, and golf likes it because everybody's watching fucking golf. It's huge for the sport, especially if he gets into it with like Koepka or something. Like if there's like a young gun that they can get into it on that Sunday. Oh, that's a day I would not want to wake up and feel like, okay, I gotta go one-on-one with Tiger Woods today for $1 million or whatever. Let's go ahead and knock this one out.
You want to sleep on that one, Pat? Like, would you want to sleep on that? Like, after round 3, they tell you, you get done, like, hey, tomorrow, good. Hey, good job, man, so far. You're in the final group. You will be teeing off at 2:05 p.m., which is very late. You're going to wake up and have all day to mess around. Oh, hey, who am I playing with? Some dude I never heard of, and then Tiger Woods. Oh, cool. Let me go sleep on that one.
Oh, okay. Do you have Ambien? Or can I get a couple of those? Because I'm going to have to wake up around noon tomorrow so I don't just overanalyze everything all morning. What's up, Diggs?
Thursday, Friday is Golf Channel 2:30 to 6:30. Saturday is 12:30 to 3 Golf Channel, and then 3 to 6 on CBS, and then Sunday's 3:30 to 7 CBS.
Listen to that shit. Just give me one place. Why is golf
Can't
doing
do
this?
it.
Come on, golf.
Especially now, though, why can't golf put on one? I understand why when there's other sports happening, you got to show some of the early rounds on the Golf Channel and then go to big CBS or whatever. But now, if you're CBS, can't you just carry the whole thing because there's no other live sports? Like, do we have to show reruns of Days of Our Lives right now? Why can't we show golf?
Hey, a couple updates here, by the way. The minority shareholders of the Washington NFL team, as Schefter put it, have hired the investment bank Moog and Company to vet buyers to sell their stake in the team, per a league source. So they are moving forward as fast as possible to get out of ownership with them. And the Washington football team has hired an attorney to review the team culture. So this is like going to rehab instead of going to jail, hoping that they won't punish you as hard on the other side. They make a move in there, and I feel like this is going to get bad. I mean, these are big moves. These are billionaires moving out of a $1 billion company that they're going to make billions of dollars with, saying, get me the hell out of here, can't do it. Now Washington is like, before this gets out somehow, whenever they're going to post, let's go ahead and act as if we're trying to fix this. This is like, this is when colleges try to punish the person who breached the violation of the NCAA rules. Like, we're going to punish them so hard that the NCAA doesn't come in and punish them. That feels like that's what the Washington football team named TBDs is doing now. But when this thing pops off, and it's everything that we have all read on the internet and heard about, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be trying to hire lawyers to figure out if they can study their team culture and figure this out, how not to do this.
Is it pretty much inevitable that Dan Snyder is no longer going to be the majority owner of the Washington football team?
Can he be forced out by the other owners, you think? They can vote him out.
I saw something where he could definitely be forced to sell the team. I don't know if it has to be like a vote from all the other owners or what. Didn't they do that to the Carolina owner who ended up dying?
Yeah.
he kind of got forced out, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and then Donald Sterling in the NBA too. They
Yep.
kind of just forced him to.
Is that a vote by the owners, or is it something like the commissioner can say, like, hey,
And if you're the
you have
mi-
to sell your team?
Board?
But if you're the minority owners there, if you know that he's potentially going to get pushed out, why are you leaving?
Why don't you try to become the majority owners?
Let's get 11% more here and we become 51%. So I don't know. I don't know if the NFL does it like the NBA does it.
A little-known clause in the NFL's bylaws gives League Commissioner Roger Goodell the power to order the sale of a team if an owner is guilty of a conduct detrimental to the welfare of the league or professional football.
Which,
you
if
go.
everything that we are reading is true, that would definitely fall into that clause. Roger Goodell sitting in his chair in his basement eating peanut M&Ms, okay, makes the call to Snyder and says, "You're at." That team goes up for sale. I mean, who's the next owner? Maybe Bezos. Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, who is currently holding this entire thing in his hand. He is allegedly wanted a team. Boom. Maybe Mark Cuban gets involved in this thing. Who knows what it's. By the way, if Mark Cuban wants to run for president, owning the Washington, D.C. football team named TBD, probably not a bad move to get in there. There's going to be, this is going to, and by the way, 12 days until training camp kicks off. New name, probably new owners if this is all true that comes out. And in 12 days, training camp happens. Good luck, Dwayne Haskins. You're going to fucking do great.
You go do it.
Where do they get that price at? Like, is Snyder able to raise the price up?
Yeah, because if he has to sell something and people are forcing him to sell, then does everybody else agree what the price is that
Yeah,
he
like
has
that's
to agree
like
to?
Well, I mean, can't you sell it for whatever someone will buy it for, right? I mean, he can set. Doesn't he get to set the price if he's forced to sell it?
But then he
I
can
want
just say,
$10
"Oh,
billion.
I want this then. I want this then. I want this then."
Good point. That's where they can step in and force them. That's where Roger could say, "Yeah, I wonder how it would go if
So
you
whoever
just held
buys
out
his
longer
team
and
is-
longer and longer." No, I don't want. They offered $3.5 billion. I want $7 billion. Like, I can't imagine you can just sit there for. And
I would
and keep
assume it's
asking
going to
for
be
more.
$5 billion.
I think it's gonna be a low price.
I think it's going to be 5. If you can get in the
Five?
NFL, it's in Washington D.C. You got to remember that's one of the most expensive places on earth. They're, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
And
The
they
value
do have
right now
actually-
is $3.4 billion. is their
3.4
value.
billion plus future earnings if you want to sell it. If you want to, like that is.
Their fans are pretty diehard too if they're good, but I think they've just been bad and run poorly for such a long time that people are so fed up there. But if they are actually good and showing some promise, I think people will show up.
Isn't that valuations lower because there's no sponsors right now either?
Evaluate. It's not just what you currently have. It's like the expectations with the NFL TV.
So that's like
rights.
if you can't sell it, none of the sponsors are coming back. That means that's half the price, right?
If you get a brand new owner and new team name, it is like the business is starting over almost. I would assume that FedEx will stick around because they're the ones that kind of made the first initial jump about having to change the name, and Pepsi and Nike will have to be because they're a part of the NFL. But it is going to be a very interesting business because you got to change the entire thing now, right? So it's if he is selling now. Granted, we have gone from this show in the last hour and 3 minutes. We have gone from allegedly there is these things happening. Now we're an hour and 3 minutes later, and he is selling the team. Okay, so a lot has happened here in the last 63 minutes. But if he sells this team, the entire you're talking about. Everybody that's in the front office is gone and moving. Is Rivera still the coach? I would assume he is because whoever comes in will want him
He's
to be
not
there.
caught up. He's only done. He's handled everything great. He's an outsider. He has come in after all this has happened.
And whoever owns the team will want him to be a coach. So you're not going to get a better coach than Ron Rivera or somebody that's more well liked. So, but everybody then is potentially gone out of there. You have to have an entire new business team, an entire new because I guess there's some shady business stuff going on there too, allegedly, if this comes out to be true. So, I mean, that is in 12 days training camp starts. 12 days training camp starts. They might have to change the person who's mowing the grass. You don't even think about that. Like there is a lot of shit that has to happen here.
So I looked up the sale of the Carolina Panthers, and it says Richardson, who was the owner, initially sought at least $3 billion for his team. No one was in at that, but then 2.6 someone was in, but he couldn't raise the money, and then eventually sold to Tepper for 2.2. So it seems like Snyder will be able to sell it for as much as he can.
And 2.2 for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Double it.
I would assume that's double, right? For the no offense to Carolina Panthers, I'm just
smaller
talking about
market.
cost of living, location. DC is very expensive. Everything there.
But if you're the potential buyer of the team, like when you're negotiating, you're saying, "Hey, look at this. He's going to show a clip from this show." Like look at what Pat McAfee just said. Like, we may have to hire new guys to mow the grass. Like, we gotta start over. This is a complete rebranding, a complete rebuild. I can't be paying $4 billion. I need it for 1.4, and then you go from there.
And it's going to sit on the shelf. Some people won't want to buy it. You know, it's a niche market. I mean, you do full Pawn Stars, that thing, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some dents. There's a lot of dents in this thing. I mean,
It's about to spring open like a Wayfair cabinet.
Oh, dude, come on.
What?
he's got problems, dude. He's got problems.
They don't spring open either, Nick. They're locked.
How would you know?
I've been down some holes on the internet.
Jesus.
Anyways, it's a problem. So, are we done?
Yeah, the thing is, the second we're done, all of this stuff is going to be confirmed.
I know. You think we just kind of hang out?
Yeah.
Just kind of hang. I
you
tell you
watch
what,
a movie?
Tigers 200 through 3.
We should do a couple questions from YouTube.
Yeah, do it.
All right, they're very positive today, by the way. The YouTube comment section has been a very non-toxic place.
You being facetious?
I think I've looked down there a couple times, and I've just seen people guessing what's going on in DC. And boy, if they're right, that'll be
I need to go.
that'll
I
be
need
a
to go
very
read
different.
those.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what they're brainstorming, what it could possibly be.
I don't even think the text that I got with all those allegations that have not been confirmed that then started. I guess other people got that same text and that started drifting on the internet. I would have never thought that was what was happening. Like I would have never been like, oh, that's probably what it is. Just because of how it's been hyped up. Like this is big, 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 big sad news. Big, big, big sad news. Bad news.
Sad. Definitely sad. You're right. Sad for a lot of people. Sad for the NFL. Yeah, we'll see. It's all alleged right now, but
AJ,
rumors have run rampant. Usually, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's some truth to it when you hear all these rumors.
AJ, weren't you the 5th overall draft pick before the CBA and you just got a lot of guaranteed money? He was, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you renegotiated another deal, right? Didn't he do that?
That's right.
And then he played for the Bengals for a little bit, right?
Cincinnati.
And then he's also a part of On It. We see that commercial like every day or something on the internet.
Yep.
Why don't you buy?
AJ loves on it.
Why don't you buy a team?
No, I don't want to relocate. If I could stay in Ohio, maybe, but I don't want to have to move to DC.
By the Bengals.
Can the new owner move the team?
Can you bring them? Have two teams? Yeah, no, that can't happen. Good
Can the
luck.
new owner
You
say I
could
want to
try.
go to San Antonio?
Or Fielli, Ohio.
I think they can.
It's kind of tough to get relocation. You got to have it. You got to be in with those owners. You got to glad hand people. You got to figure things out. I'm not in that guy. If I owned a team, the only thing I would request is that they do not serve any meatball subs in the concession area.
Oh, you.
That's what I'm talking about, AJ.
Way to bankrupt
We have
the
no
team.
meatballs in the stadium. Definitely no meatball subs.
Oh,
Listen,
You're wrong.
meatballs on spaghetti for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's great actually on spaghetti. I love it. I'll even eat a meatball alone. But a meatball sub is just not supposed to be a thing, AJ.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah, but you love Skyline, AJ. It's like noodles with
I grew up-
diarrhea on
yeah.
top.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
What's up
What'd he
now?
say?
He said Skyline's noodles with diarrhea. He said that, not me. I didn't say that. He said that.
Well, I mean, if your baby stomach can't handle it, then yeah.
Oh, little bitch ass stomach over there. Little bitch ass stomach.
I mean, you need to eat that with a diaper. You call it spaghetti, you call it chili. I mean, it's trash. It's trash. Anyway,
Diarrhea.
Yeah, like somebody who grew up in Ohio, though. When I grew up on it, so I don't have any issues. Maybe it's like if you travel somewhere in a third world country, hey, don't drink the water. If they say, hey, you're coming to Ohio, don't eat Skyline. Like, I don't have that. I'm a native. I don't have any issue.
You're immune to it because you grew up. It's like when you microdosed yourself shellfish because you were allergic.
Yeah, I had some shrimp cocktail a couple nights ago.
Science working out. For those that don't know that are watching, AJ was once deathly allergic to shellfish, and he wanted to eat shrimp cocktail at the hoity-toity events he was getting invited to so bad that he started microdosing himself until he was able to accomplish the feat. And here we are, 2020, still able to do it. Congratulations, AJ.
Thank you very much. I was not deathly allergic. My eyes would swell up real bad and couldn't
die
see
from that.
too much. My throat would just get scratchy. It wouldn't close, so I could
die.
still
Yeah,
breathe.
but you never know.
Yeah, but you don't know.
The more you eat, the
What if you're walking down the street, you can't fucking see anything, you get hit by a car? Is that death or not?
If I'm walking down the street, I can't see anything. Guess what I do, Pat? I just stop walking.
You got somewhere to go.
Not that bad. I don't need to be hit by a car walking blind.
part of the allergies.
Yeah, you don't know.
Keeps your legs moving.
It's a hell of an allergy.
Stinks.
You microdosed yourself and you beat that allergy. Congratulations to you. Tomorrow we'll be back, maybe with some reaction to the Washington Post article that is going to shatter and shake the NFL if the shit we are hearing is true. From AJ Hawk, myself, and all of the boys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Don't be a stooge. We'll see you manana. That's the show. That's the show. That's the show. And that's the show. And what we just did back then, that's the show.
The greatest sports talk show on the internet from 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk.